Alright guys, hi, welcome to the tattoo course. Today I will be showing you how to put on your tattoos in Photoshop. You have other options in Discord on how to do this, but today will be the Photoshop video. Um, my preference, I don't like Photoshop because of the pictures and it gets a little wonky and it gets a little technical. But I always state before you even buy this course that you need to have knowledge in Photoshop. So, asking questions on how to remove a background, I'm not going to answer that question. Simple because that's an obvious. So today I will be using the Photoshop 2020. You can use 2023, does not matter. Um, I'll put in a clip in a few seconds on how to enable your 3D mode so that you know how to do it. If you already have your My Faces course, you should already know how to do that. So I'm going to go ahead and just pull up Photoshop now. So once we have Photoshop open, the first thing we're going to do, just go ahead and open up a new file, doesn't matter, and hit create. So we want to go ahead and get it in our 3D mode. So like I said, 2020, they're discontinuing the 3D layout on Photoshop. And putting it somewhere else. I don't remember. It's going to be in a different Adobe program. But in order to activate it on 2023, this is what you need to do. You need to go to Edit at the top, Preferences at the bottom, and Technology Previews. Once you hit that, you're going to hit Deactivate Native Canvas. Mine is already checked, but that's what you want to check. And also you're going to go up to 3D. Make sure everything is the same as mine's. Let me go ahead and activate 3D as well. So you can activate the 3D mode by going over here to the right, clicking this window, 3D, and you're in a 3D mode. Alright, so you can go back to Edit, Preferences at the bottom, and then 3D, making sure everything is selected except for this here. And everything should be laid out to how I have it laid out. Once you have that done, press OK. Alright, so once you got 3D mode activated, you should exit out of it and then come back in it. You can put your OBJ in just by open and then finding that OBJ file, or just drop it in. So I already have an OBJ. I already have it here. You don't have to change any of this stuff. Just press OK. And it does take a minute. Okay. So here is how it will look. So in 2023, you won't get the smooth turn like this. On 2023, you end up having to click and turn, click and turn, click and turn, and it gets wonky. But sometimes I do use 2023, sometimes I don't. All right, so once you have, just make sure that you're on your 3D mode there. And I'm gonna show you some tricks a little bit here. So if you're working on a specific area and you can't see, a simple way of doing that just by going over to 3D here, hitting Infinite Light 1, and then move to view. And then double click inside so that you can move again. And that's how you can see the dark parts in your canvas here. Alright, so I'm going to be working on the arm part. And I understand that you guys may be working on something else. So this goes for the legs, if you're doing feet as well. This goes for those too. So one thing you need to note with GTA bodies, whatever you put on this arm is going to be on this arm. So you only have one arm to work with. Please don't go in chat asking how can I do it separate. I want to know how to do it separate. The only way that can be possible is if you have add-on tattoos. Add-on tattoos meaning you have to go in game and go to a tattoo shop and put the tattoos on. These are custom tattoos that are already attached to the body. These can also be add-on as well. But just so you know, if you are doing custom tattoos like this, whatever is on this arm is going to be on this arm. There's no way around it. Trust me. Okay, so I'm just going to go over to the arm part because that's where I want to work. So I'm going to go back to Infinite Light, move to view, double click, and this is where I want to work first. All right, so simple way of adding in your pictures. We're going to go ahead and open up a wireframe just to open it up. So go back to layers, wire texture here, and here's your wire texture. If you don't like working with this UV map, you can turn off the UV overlay here. But I like to keep it on, that way I know where I'm going. Now, there's different ways of doing this. You can input a picture, file, open, and then I'm just going to choose any picture that I want to do. I'm going to choose this picture. So I'm going to drag this picture over, and you can place it on like this. I'm going to resize it by Control T and resize. All right. Easy way to get rid of the background, and it's already on a second layer. You want to get your magic wand tool and you want to just go over. It already did it, so just make sure that it chooses everything here and delete. All right, so it deleted everything. All right, I don't know why I did that. Okay, so I deleted everything. I'm gonna get rid of this layer. All right, so I'm gonna go back. I'm gonna take that second layer. Okay, so like I said, this is the way you can do it. One way you can do it. Control T. And just do it like this. But it has to be in layers. This is one way you do it. So this is the arm, this is the front, this is the back, this is the sides. I believe this is the back of the arm too, where the elbow is. So you can actually do it like this. And hit enter or the check mark at top. Then go back over to your canvas. All right, so just remember, just go back to 3D layer because you can't see it, and move light to view. All right, and as you can see, the tattoo is there. So that is one way of doing it. And then you can just start placing other tattoos on it. So for example, if I just want to copy this just to get a duplicate layer. Duplicate layer, because I want to fill up this whole arm. I'm going to put it like right on top just so it can blend in, because we're going to do a blending with this. Duplicate layer. Now if you have a full picture, that would be awesome, because that way it covers up the whole thing. All right, so what I'm gonna do with this now, with this layer here, I'm going to turn down the opacity so that I can delete. All right, so just a lot of this is just Photoshop, just to be honest. A lot of it just Photoshop. working your way around Photoshop. All right, and then I'm gonna turn back up the opacity, and that's how I want it. And then I'm gonna go back to my OBJ, and as you see, go back to infinite lighting, move to view. As you see, I have a whole arm tattoo. And you can move in with Control Plus. Don't mind this, it won't be there. All right. So technically I have a whole arm tattoo. Now, as you can see, it has these lines in there. Easy way of blending that. Let's go back to our wireframe. All right, so we're gonna go back to our wireframe. That way we can go ahead and blend this area here. Just gonna move in. I wanna be able to see. But like I said, if you have a whole picture perfect, you don't have to do any of this. But you wanna make sure that everything is actually in layers. Okay, so an easier way to get rid of and blend all of this in, we're actually just gonna go in a little bit and make sure no background is showing. If you have a canvas you're working on and want to blend in. Okay, so the easiest way of doing this is working with your eraser tool. All right, so I'm gonna get rid of these lines here that are already in my All right, so I've got rid of all the lines that were there, hopefully, and I'm just gonna preview my OBJ. Okay, so all those lines are gone. All right, so we're just gonna work on blending this in. Best way to blend this in is to just use your eraser tool. So we're gonna choose eraser tool, and we're going to turn down the opacity to probably like 10. All right, so I'm gonna show you just exactly what it's gonna look like that. All right, so what you're gonna do, we're gonna keep the first layer. So we're working on the second one right here. I would turn this down a little bit so it's not too much. All right, so layer 2, and I'm going to, if you see the background, just undo it. Probably turn down the opacity again and turn down your brush. Just to get rid of those lines. Turn up the opacity because I couldn't see anything. All right, so this is how you blend. I'm gonna go on layer 3. This is pretty much how you blend. Even if you do get the background, we're still gonna smudge. Alright, so I'm gonna switch over to the smudge tool, and let me tell you what the smudge tool does. So I'm gonna make it a little bigger. Smudge tool pretty much blends it in a little bit more, so it won't look crazy. Alright, let me do a bottom layer. Now a little space is okay because it's still gonna just blend in. With the skin. Alright, so let's take a look at our OBJ. And as you can see, it's a lot better. None of the harsh lines are in. Guys, this isn't perfect, but this is just a gist of how to do it. All right, so now look at this part here. If you see this part here, it's because of that one I cut. I did cut it a little bit right here. Or I can always go to layer 4, move it over, and also make it wider. Like that. It's no biggie. I can always do it like that. It's really not no big deal. All right. So here is me covering up, but see that harsh line? So you want to do the same thing like on the ends here, because I did not get rid of the ending as well. So you want to do that as well to the end of the lines. Okay, so another way of getting your layers on, let me zoom out, control negative or minus. Another way of doing this is, and this is the hands as well. So another way of doing this, we're gonna go back to our OBJ. Please don't mind this outline. It is what it is. I just can't get rid of it now. So it's always best to learn how to do Photoshop. All right, so we're gonna work on the front and back body. So another way of doing this, you can find your picture. I'm just using a regular old picture. So I'm just gonna use this. It's just the picture I found. Yeah. I'm gonna size it to the body. Now the reason why I don't like Photoshop is because sometimes the picture disappears. So it's best to do it how you want. To do it on the UV map instead of doing it this way. I'm gonna do it this way. So I'm gonna get it as big as I can. You can always turn down the opacity so you know what you're doing. And I'm just gonna stretch it like this. Actually just gonna go back in. So I kind of want that area. And I'm gonna stretch it like this. Now you could be working on a different model, so you can use the same techniques I've used if you want to make a mural or a masterpiece. Same techniques using the eraser and the smudge tool to input this on. So I'm going to input it on like this. And I'm going to save that. And what I want to do is make a new layer because sometimes the layer doesn't copy over. So just for an example, if I do like this, I'm going to rasterize it, rasterize layer, and then I'm going to merge it down. As you see, sometimes it disappears. So this is the reason why I don't like using Photoshop. So I'm going to go back and do it again. So you want to make sure that this is actually on the OBJ. It's probably the reason why. So I'm just going to merge it down. Make sure the opacity is right back up. Merge it down. And there you have it. So you just might have to play around with it if it does not appear on the skin correctly. And as you can see, it's on. I'm just going to check my other layer. And this is what I meant. It doesn't copy over to a layer. So I'm going to undo this. And what I've discovered is if you make a new layer, have that layer checked, it sometimes works, it sometimes does not. I'm going to merge down this layer. Hopefully it did it. It didn't. And then I'm going to close this out. I'm going to open back up a wire texture. And it looks like it copied to copy to. Actually, that's pretty fine because actually it's not. It depends on where it all lays. And also it's missing. So that would be another option of doing it, but like I don't like putting it strictly on this OBJ for that simple reason. It does not copy the whole picture over. So the best thing to do, I'm gonna undo this. Copy this layer over here. Open up another wireframe. Add a new layer. and do like that. So I'm gonna merge this down. As you see, it made a new layer. The layer that I was wanting. So I'm gonna undo that real quick. So you just have to play around with it. Alright, so you just would have to just play around with it. Alright, so we're gonna go back to our layer. We're gonna erase this because we don't need it. That was in the back of inside that. Alright, so Photoshop does get wonky sometimes, so I'm gonna zoom in so we can work on this canvas. Alright, so I'm gonna leave it like that because I did the best that I could. So that would be another way you can do that. So since I use a whole picture, I won't get into too much of. I'm just gonna blend this out. Okay, so it can just look normal. All right, so you guys are probably wondering, how can I see this through my skin? Yeah, that's the big kicker there. How can you see this through your skin? All right, so I'm gonna tell you how you can see this through your skin. All right, so I did the best I could. Okay. All right, so it should turn out like this, but there is something going on wonky with my thing. When it snaps back like that. All right, so I'm gonna go back in my texture. So I bet you're wondering, how can I see this through my skin? Well, first, let me show you guys how to do the text. So the font is where you get your text. So you can just choose a text, write out whatever, Mount Haven University, submit, and then you just download. So I already downloaded something, and it's actually here. All right, so this is what I actually downloaded. So this font here. All right, so there's my font. You just install it, you put it on, and I put it as a new layer. All right, so on the back, I should have Trap Queen. That's a P. I don't know why it looks like that. So that's my font. I can probably do it over. Oh, there it goes. Trap Queen. All right, what I can do in order for this to see through the skin, you're gonna choose your layer. You're gonna go to normal. Darken sometimes works, sometimes it doesn't. You're gonna go to multiply. That way you can see through it. I'm gonna go to this layer. I'm gonna hit multiply. This layer, multiply. This layer, multiply. It's all layers, just multiply them. All right. So we're gonna go back over to our OBJ, which isn't working correctly. As you can see, you can kind of see the gray through the skin. All right, so we're just gonna test this out. So once you have all your layers on, you've edited everything, and you've done all you can do, and you're satisfied with everything, you're gonna go ahead and drop in your skin. So I'm just gonna drop in my skin here. And I'm gonna hit enter or check. And then I'm gonna layer it here. So one of my textures is not multiplied. This one here. And I'm gonna multiply it. So keep in mind that the skin and the tattoos that you use, darker skins, this isn't a perfect tattoo, but you can see through it. And as you can see, it's right here. Now, like I said, something's going on with my system. But you get the gist. So I'm just gonna move the light over. And as you can see, this is the tattoos. All right, so once that is done, all you have to do is just save this as a PNG and import into your OpenIV. You're gonna import this into your OpenIV. So I'm gonna quick save, export, quick save as PNG. What you're gonna do, if you want, you can pretty much merge all this down. Because once you export this to OBJ, you can't edit this. All right, so you're just gonna file, export, quick PNG. All right, so once you're done with that and save the PNG, you should have it here. All right, so what you're gonna do, I'm gonna go ahead and post a video of how you can put your tattoos in game. There's definitely a video on YouTube for it. So I won't even show that, but make sure you also get the archive fixed. So that you don't mess up your OpenIV archives or none of your game files, and you'll have to download OpenIV over again or download a file to fix your OpenIV. Because sometimes if you mess around with your OpenIV files, your FiveM won't even start. So you'll be getting error with FiveM. So the reason, because you're messing around with the OpenIV files. So I'm gonna go ahead and post a video after this, and concludes the Photoshop version of the tattoo class. Well, I hope you guys like it. Just go ahead and give me feedback if it's something that you not too clear about in this course. Just go ahead and shoot me a ticket, and one of me or one of my admins will answer.